Whether you run a business online or offline, or you might even have a combination of both, you're going to want to be good, in fact, excellent at having sales conversations. Now, a lot of us, especially if you're a coach, if you're in the service industry, if you're a consultant, it doesn't matter. A lot of people sell over the phone, over Zoom, in person. So if you are having these conversations, you're probably wondering what are the best questions to be asking in order to get the right response. And what is the right response? Well, of course, the right response is that resounding yes to your offer. So recently I hired a sales team, an in-house sales team, 4 people, and I've been training them. And this entire week, we have been focusing on selling a 5K product, and I've been doing most of the calls this week, and the conversion rates have been 100%. So one of the questions that keep cropping up during our trainings and meetings with my new team is, of course, what sort of questions should we be asking? What sort of things should we be doing? And what sort of conversations should we be having so that we can get that resounding yes? And in this specific video, I'm going to be giving you 5 of my top questions. These are questions that I always ask. Come rain or shine, no matter who is on the call, I will be asking these questions. So let's get to it. Welcome back. I'm Obasa, the founder of The Lucrative Lady. If you like what you see and you like what you hear and you have found value in this, do me a big massive favor by subscribing to this channel, turning on your bell, and of course going ahead and sharing this training, because I'm giving you the goods. I'm always excited to talk about sales, and this video is going to be no less. Let's talk about 5 things that you must ask a prospect, right? Now, when it comes to getting that resounding yes on a call, whether you're on Zoom or on the phone, one of the biggest things that will impact the success rate is, of course, how warm or hot that prospect is. Now, what I mean by that is I'm talking about your nurture, right? How did they come in? How were they nurtured through this? And that is why the success rate of our calls are extremely high. I'm talking 100% most weeks, because of the nurture sequence, the process that they have been through. And if you look above in the corner of this video, I'm actually going to link out to another training that I did all about how to close more sales on the phone, where I actually break down the nurture sequence and the steps that people have to take to get on a call. So this specific video that you're watching is all about, now they've scheduled the call. They're sitting right there in front of you, right? They're on Zoom or they're on the call, and you are speaking with them. What are the questions that you must ask? I'm going to break down the questions, the psychology behind why we ask them, and how exactly to position these questions. So let's go. When I begin these conversations, one of the questions that I ask after I have built rapport and done all the, hello, how are you, and all of that, the first question that I want you to ask is this: tell me a little bit about yourself and about your business. Now, why is this such an important question? Well, if you're getting to know somebody for the first time, you're going to want to really get to know them, because if you think about it, the purpose of a sales call is really diagnosis, right? We are really trying to work out what is their problem and are they a good fit for your solution. Now, if you have done your nurture well in terms of the journey that they have taken, then you should be speaking to the right person. But you cannot assume that this is your ideal client just because they ended up on a call with you. You still have to ask these crucial questions. So when I ask a prospect and I say, tell me a little bit about yourself and about your business, what I'm really doing is I'm really listening out to what is their big why. Right? So I'm expecting them to talk about, their family, their children and their love and the things that they love to do. And then they will then share about their business. And so they might say something like, I'm a mom of 3, and I have 3 girls. They are aged 3, 5, and 7. And of course, I run my business so that I can spend more time with my children. So boom, right there, I have the big why, and I write it down. And the reason I do that is because I'm going to be using that later on in the conversation. But if I just hopped into the conversation and all I did was start talking about the problems they were having, we wouldn't get off the conversation on the right foot. So it's very important to bring down those guards, those walls, and first ask them to talk about, who they are and about their business. So let's move to question number 2. So question number 2 is this: what is it that motivated you to schedule this call today? Okay, I'm going to repeat that. What is it that motivated you to schedule this call today? Now, if a member of my team was having this call, they would say something like, what is it that that brought you to this call? Or why was it that you wanted to schedule a call with Pam and our team? So can you see that there are several ways of rephrasing that question? Now, what is the psychology behind this question? Well, the psychology behind this is I'm looking for their big problem. So if in question 1, I was looking for their big why, in question 2, now I want to understand what is their big problem in their own eyes, right? What is your motivation? Because we all have problems, and when somebody gets on a call with you, the problem that they've probably had for quite some time, right? But there was something that pushed them over the edge to go, I'm going to now do something about this. It's really, really important that you understand what that specific motivation was, because it is when you understand that, then you can in your mind think, well, how pressing is this problem? Perhaps the client says, well, what motivated me to schedule this call is because, well, when we went into lockdown, I didn't really have a business, Pam. I didn't know anything to do. I had no idea how to move my business online, and so I knew that I needed to do something about it. Do you see that? That is a pressing problem. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this problem is super hot, and 1 being this problem is super cold, and this client just isn't right for this call, this specific problem is at a 10 because it is a pressing problem. So that is a huge motivation, and that again reaffirms to me that this client is not only right at the right time, but they are right for what I have to offer. So let's go to question number 3. Now, this question, I wouldn't ask this question straight after number 2. I would ask a series of other questions, but in this training I wanted to really focus on the 5 key questions, right? So the third key question that I would ask is this, and this is how I would phrase it. I would say, can we have a serious conversation about money? Tell me, how much money did your business bring in the last 30 days, right? So it's sort of 2 questions in one. The first question, I ask their permission, and that is, can we have a serious conversation about money? And I'm expecting them to nod, which they will, or they will say yes. And then I say, in the last 30 days, how much money did your business bring in? Now, what is the psychology behind that? Well, whenever you ask somebody for permission, right, to ask them about anything, you're going to get a yes. Not only will you get a yes, you're going to get a resounding yes. Why? Because you've asked for permission. When we talk about money, we're talking about something that is so close to people's heart that they keep so closely guarded, because they don't really want to, they don't want other people to know how well they're doing or how not so well they're doing. These are things that really bring people down mentally and emotionally. So they're not quick to talk about it. So if you're going to ask that type of question, you've got to understand that you are prying into their private business, and so therefore asking for permission gives you what? It gives you access, right? So never ask that question unless you have access. So let me rephrase that. It is, can we have a serious conversation about money? How much money did your business bring in the last 30 days? Now, why do I want to know how much money their business brought in the last 30 days? Why? Because I'm dealing with the present. I'm not interested in how much your business has made over the past 5 years, how much your business made last year. I'm interested in what brought your business to the call, what brought you to the call right now, and that is the last 30 days. What has been the performance, the results? What have you done in your business in the last 30 days that pressed you to schedule this call? So I would ask that question, and to be honest, this one question is so loaded that it just gives me such a much bigger picture in terms of when I come to positioning the offer later on down the line. Okay, question number 4. Now this one is also seriously loaded, and it's a 2-part question. And that question goes like this. It says, where would you like to be in the next 6 months? How much money would you like to be making per month? Sometimes I may rephrase it like this, and I might say, let's say the client is called Jenny. So I might say something like, so Jenny, imagine if we worked together, let's say 6 months down the line, we've done a lot of work together and your business is now super successful. How much money would you want to be making per month for you to fly down to London and have afternoon tea with me? Can you see that? Can you see how I put a little bit of humor behind that? Right? I don't do that for every client, but sometimes you want to use some humor and bring that into the call. Well, when I ask somebody and I say, where do you want to be in the next 6 months? What I'm getting them to do is I'm getting them to future pace themselves. I'm getting them to think about their future, so think ahead. Why? Because when people have a problem, they tend to be stuck in their present. They tend to be stuck in what isn't working right now. And one of the key reasons why I get a resounding yes, and why you will if you take my advice, and you totally should, is that you get them to future pace and to see if and when you come out of this problem that you are in, what does life now look like? It's very important to help your clients to see the vision beyond where they are right now. And then when it comes to the second part of the question, which is how much money would you like to be making per month, I'm getting them to be specific, right? None of that fluffy response of I want to be making $1 million like yesterday. Like that's, let's not even talk about those responses, because yes, those things do happen on sales calls. But where I'm guiding my prospect is I want them to be so specific about their goal. And again, I might challenge them further if they give me such a big number, or a number that's very different to where they are right now. And that takes me to the fifth question, and that is, give me a reason for the gap. Or rather, sometimes I might say, give me 3 reasons for the gap. Now, let me just tell you how that all gets put together. So in the third question, I asked them, how much money have you made in the last 30 days? In question number 4, I then asked, in the next 6 months, how much money would you like to be making per month? Now, chances are in the last 30 days, they probably said something like, let's just pick a figure. Let's say in the last 30 days, they made 3 grand, right? 3 grand in the last 30 days. And then in question 4, when I asked, how much money would you like to be making in the next 6 months? They might say something like, oh, Pam, in the next 6 months, what would really blow my mind and change my life is when I'm doing 30K per month in the next 6 months. So then in question number 5, my question then is, what is the reason for that big gap? And I wouldn't just ask that question that way. I would phrase it like this. I might say something like, let's say again, the client is called Jenny. So I might say something like, Jenny, you made 3K in the last 30 days. Your goal in the next 6 months is 30K. So that's 10 times what you are making right now. Can you see, Jenny, that there's a big, massive gap? So tell me, what would you say? Give me 3 reasons that you think, in your own opinion, knowing your business and knowing, yourself, what are 3 reasons why you think that there is such a big gap between where you are right now and where you want to be? What are the 3 reasons, and why haven't you achieved that goal by yourself up until now? Can you see how I phrased that question? It's a loaded question, right? This gives me the opportunity to really see how the prospect sees themselves, number 1, and to see if they themselves have been able to identify that, number 1, there is a gap, number 2, that there are reasons, not just one reason for the gap. So if the prospect turns around and gives me one answer and says, oh, the reason for the gap, Pam, is just because I'm not visible enough, I might prompt them further and go, okay, number 1, you're not visible enough. Can you give me 2 more reasons? Tell me. And I would repeat the question. Why do you think there's such a big, massive gap? Take a moment, Jenny, think about it and let me know. And I'd give them a moment, give them some space, and they would have a think. And that's when what's truly going on in their life and in their business really comes up, right? Perhaps they've lost a loved one recently. Perhaps they're in debt. Perhaps they've mismanaged their money. Perhaps they need to hire more people. Perhaps they're not even visible at all. Perhaps they need to run some ads. But whatever the reason is, chances are that the person who you are speaking with, they have an idea why they are stuck, right? You want to know what those ideas are before you then give them your recommendation, okay? Right, so just a quick recap. The 5 most powerful sales questions that you should be asking, come rain or shine, on your calls. Question number 1, tell me about yourself and about your business. Question number 2, what motivated you to schedule this call today? And question number 3, can we have a serious conversation about money? How much money did your business make in the last 30 days? And question number 4 is, of course, about future pacing. And that is, imagine we work together on it 6 months down the line. How much money would you want to be making in your business every single month? And which leads us to question number 5, which is all about identifying the reason for the gap. And you phrase it by simply saying, this is where you are. You're earning this amount of money. This is where you want to be. Can you give me 3 reasons for why there is such a big gap? So, those are 5 powerful questions that you've got to be asking on every call. And I promise you that if you use these questions, if you take my recommendation, if you listen to me, that you will see a lot of success. Now, sales calls can be really, really enjoyable. I love having these calls, specifically because I have a very, very high close rate. Yes, I understand that. But to be honest, it wasn't always like that. Nobody is born with that knowledge. It is something that you can learn. It is something that comes with practice, and it is something that with more practice, you get even better. So the next time you get on a call, I want you to print out these questions, remember my voice resounding in your head, and ask these questions and ask them boldly. So finally, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel and you love this, please go ahead and subscribe. And of course, don't only subscribe, I want you to actually share this, share it to other channels, Facebook, Instagram, other places. Share it with your friends, with your loved ones, whoever you feel might get value from this. Please go ahead and share this, and let me know in the comments which of these 5 questions really stood out to you. Which one of them do you think that you are definitely not using in your prospecting calls that you are going to be using? And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. See you then.